Hey guys, welcome back. Okay, we're here today to talk about a watch that I built back in 2006. As you guys will find out that I am building another watch, and I should have the prototype in about a month or so. But before we go into anything, as always, let's do a wristwatch check. Again, take a wild guess what I'm wearing today. I'll give you one guess, and I'm pretty sure you guys already know what it is. That's right, it's a Steinhardt. But before I show you the Steinhardt, let me tell you a little bit about what's been going on with it. So when I first got it, I did the video of it, and when I took it home, I had to, you know what? Let me just show you. Oh, there she is. Look at that. I love this watch. It's a honeymoon phase, if you want to call it that, but man, I just love looking at this watch. And as you can tell, it's wearing the Jubilee bracelet. I mean, I posted it on the Facebook thread, but what happened was the original bracelet that came in, the Oyster, had this big gaping hole up here, which I did not like. So, I was like, well, okay, I'll just live with it. And then I started to take out the taking out the links for my wrist, so it fits around my wrist. And then there's one link that you can't screw up, which is this link right here. See the little screw, the flathead screwdriver that you have to put in there. Well, I'm sorry, here, that's where you put it. And this is a rivet. It's riveted on both sides. So if you do cause any harm here, you're screwed. You have to order another clasp. And guess what I did? I caused harm, stripped it, and I had to order another clasp for it. So while I was on the site, I saw the Jubilee bracelet. I go, you know what? I really like the way this thing looks. I've seen other people with Steinhardts with the Jubilee. And when I went ahead and ordered it, it came with a clasp. So I fixed the Oyster bracelet, and I put this guy on. I put it to my measurements, and let me tell you, I think this watch looks perfect with this bracelet. I had a James Bond NATO. I had it on the, what's the other one I had it on? It was the astronaut Velcro strap, and the Oyster, and now the Jubilee. And I can't tell you enough what a wonderful bracelet this is. I mean, it just looks right. It feels right, and this watch is just, I catch myself looking at it all the time. That's how nice this watch is. But we're here for something else today. We're here for what's in here. What is in here, though? So back in, as you can tell, I have some aerial charts here, and I got my little P19. Is it a P19? It's P17. I think it's a P19A autogyro. My favorite aircraft of the 19 teens and 20s. Basically the safest way to fly. And some of you might know that I'm also an author. And my first novel, I have a PA-19, not this, actually, a PA-19 cabin autogyro in it. And it's a fun book. It's called Phoenix Project. And of course, it's by me, Robert Blanchard. You can get it on Amazon. But enough plugging in my book. Let's go to what I created here. So back in 2006, I was doing a lot of flying. But I found myself looking at my watch, mostly my Speedmaster, and it was just, I would focus too much on the watch when I was looking at it. Granted, I also had a watch on my G1000 screens, but I'm old-fashioned. I started out with steam gauges, and I went to the electronic gauges, and I would just look at my watch and sit there and look at it and stare and go, oh, okay, that's how much time I have before my waypoint, or that's how much time I have before I have to switch to tanks. So I said, you know what, let me create a watch. And then I started researching, and I ran across Azimuth, and Azimuth at the time was making these two watches, which of course I bought. So these are the pilot watches from World War II, basically. This one was with as you can tell, the screw crown is on the left side, and which is, I think this one is serial number. Let me see. Circa 19, what? I can't even read it, man. My glasses. I am so blind. I need to get new reading glasses. But, oh, this is number 26 out of 50. Serial 26 out of 50. So they made 50 of these guys. And they made more of these guys over here. This is the one with the crown on the right side. And this one I don't think has this. Oh, no. Number 177. So they maybe made about 200 of these or maybe 300 of these. Probably 300. So I, of course, bought two. Eventually bought two. I bought this one first, and then when I found the left side, I liked it because the way this dug into my wrist, I didn't like. So that's why I wanted to crown on the left side. I used the watch for a while, and then I said, you know what? I really like this, but I think minutes are more important than hours when it comes to flying. So I wanted to build a watch that had minutes on the face, so it'd be a lot easier. Let me flip it over. So it'd be a lot easier to read. Lo and behold, I did a little bit of research about these type of watches, and I came out with 1940s German pilots navigators watches by Leico and IWC, and I think there were a couple other ones. There were, I think, 2 or 3 other companies that made them. And when I saw those, I said, well, that's exactly how I want to build this watch. That way it's really easy for me just to go like this and see the minutes and then just keep flying. And I decided to call Azimuth, and I partnered with them, and I designed the face of the dial of the watch, and I used their case and their leather straps and everything. You'll notice that the watch I have in here has the NATO strap. It actually came with this strap, but I switched it for the NATO because that leather strap got smelly, like things you usually do when you live in South Florida and you sweat all the time while wearing these watches. So that's why I like to wear bracelets, because I just jump in the shower, jump in the pool, jump anywhere with it, and it doesn't smell. So luckily, Azimuth also had a lot of these cases, so I just jumped on the bandwagon and got 50 of these cases as well, since I had a order of 50 of these watches. And then, oh man, I forgot to tell you, forgot to write down my ETA that's in here. Give me a second while I look it up. So I kind of forgot to write down the specs on this watch. I mean, I can remember, it's pretty easy, but you know me, I have a tendency to space out. So when I built this watch, it came with the ETA 2801-2 movement, which is a manual wind, just like these guys are manual wind. And it's about 25.5 millimeters in diameter. The diameter of these guys are 48 millimeters. So there's a lot of space. There's the movement's in the middle and a lot of space around it. But that's the way it was done. And actually, I love ETA movements. They're pretty much bulletproof. Anybody can take care of them. So when you bought my watch, I made 50 of them, and they all sold out, which was great. Well, except for this one, which is serial number 1. You would get the warranty card from Azimuth. I think it was a 2-year warranty on the watch itself. And you got this little cleaning cloth. And you got a tool. And I was going to put an extra strap, but I never did it. I was going to put a NATO strap, actually, ironically, but it came with the leather strap. So this was the watch I made. So let's pull out the ones from Azimuth so you can compare the two of them. So as you see, it is basically the same case. You know what? Let me zoom in a little bit here so that way I don't have to bring him so close to the camera. Okay, much better, much better. So, as you can tell, I use the same case, but I designed the dial itself. And the dial is reminiscent of the IWC and the Leico, but I played with it a little bit where, some of them had lines, some of them had dots on the outside, dots on the inside. I put it right on the line. One of the watches I did see was like that, so it came out really nice. And when I would fly, it was very easy to have my watch on here. I would just look at it and say, okay, it's 7:15. So I got 15 minutes before I have to switch to tanks or hit my waypoint. And it was just easy to look at. I didn't have to squint. I didn't have to spend time looking at the watch and trying to figure things out. So this size is a really good size for a tool watch for flying. The only thing I maybe would have done differently after I got the watches was I should have put the crown on the left side, because it does kind of sort of start biting on your wrist. Here, let me take this off. I take off my Steinhardt and put this guy on so you can see what I'm talking about. It's a 48. I do have a big wrist, so it looks pretty decent on my wrist. But it is still a pretty big watch. I, of course, see there it is on my wrist. Let me zoom out a little bit. Oh, let's zoom in. Sorry about that. So it looks really good. I mean, on my wrist, 7.5-inch wrist, it looks just fine. But as you can tell, see how it kind of sort of eats up on my hand. And, you know, I would wear it all the time when I went flying. I would actually keep it in the cockpit. Since it was manual wind, I just, take it, wind it when I would get into the plane and put it on when I would go flying. So I really use this watch. If you look at the back as well, you'll see that it's almost the same as what Azimuth was doing with theirs. You can tell mine was definitely used a lot more than this one. This one is almost never worn. So I kind of did it. Mine, of course, is the serial number 1 out of 50. Azimuth Watch Company in Switzerland, and of course Azimuth and Blanchard, my name. And as you guys will see, I started the Blanchard Watch Company for this new watch that I'm building, which hopefully I will have the prototypes maybe in a month and a half. So I can't wait to get those in my hand and show them to you guys, so you guys can get excited about this new racing watch. Originally, these watches came in 55 millimeters, and I used to have an original one which I sold to buy other watches, and but I do have the replica Leica one, which I'm going to sell too, because I really don't wear it anymore. I'm more into racing now than I am into flying. So, I'm going to keep these guys because I love this guy, and keep this guy as well. But that big 55 is just sitting in a box, just getting dust, and I want to, maybe purchase something else or use the funds to build my watch. So anyway, I wanted to show you guys my little creation that I did back in 2006. I've seen it for sale on the auction sites. I know one was sold from the Philippines, and I think it went for like $1,000, or maybe, I know there one sold for $895 and another one sold for like $1,000 something. I originally sold them for $550. I made a small profit on it, not a big profit, but just a regular profit on it, and it was a good experience to take me to where I am now, which is the new watch I'm designing. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this little show of one of my first watches, and I can venture to guess that next watch I'm going to show you guys will most likely be, since we're celebrating the 50th anniversary of the moon landing, my two Speedmasters, my 1971 Speedmaster and my 2000-ish, I think it's at this 6 or 7, I forget what year they came out with it, Last Man on the Moon caseback. So I'm excited to show you guys those. Stay tuned until the next watch. Catch you later.